My life was influenced most by my mother, sitting here tonight, Willie Elaine McAlpin.
Oh, Blake's mother! Oh.
Consider Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds again. What we're going to show you will fundamentally alter your perception of Hollywood's ostensibly ideal marriage. Megyn Kelly recently tore their facade apart at the Time 100 event, revealing how Blake reportedly fabricates stories and manipulates circumstances by using her own mother. The aftermath? A total breakdown that exposes their true selves when no cameras are supposed to be there.
Blake and Ryan and her mother decided to attend the Time 100 gala. There they are. Look, I gotta be honest, they are trying so hard. All these photos are just so ridiculous. Look at the gown. This photo really took the cake for me. And I don't know if you noticed over here. Who is this woman? She is my spirit animal because she wants nothing to do with this malarkey. She's like, oh God, get me out of here. Now this one right here, you're going to see in a second, that's Leslie Sloan. There she is. Here's my hero. Whoever, I don't know who that is, but I love her stone face. And there's Leslie Stone, which we get for the first time. She doesn't tend to like to be in the press, but we're going to put her in the press. There she is with Blake's mother, Ryan, on the red carpet as they get ready for photo ops, having a good time. Look how much fun they are having at the red carpet event because, you know, that's what couples who are suffering with traumatic, crippling fear and harassment do, is they go out and smile for cameras and act like there's nothing happening. Ryan looks terrified. Like Ryan genuinely stuck between these women. All a PR stunt. I'm like uncomfortable. I'm visibly uncomfortable watching them sort of force themselves to events. So we were all asking, why are they at this event? What's actually happening?
Ever wonder how Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively became the most popular pair in Hollywood? When Blake and Ryan first reunited after meeting on the set of Green Lantern in 2010, they immediately recognized the power of their combined star appeal. What began as casual dating quickly evolved into one of Hollywood's most potent brand partnerships. Their flawless marriage image is not an accident. It's a carefully crafted public persona they've been perfecting for years, and I'm going to show you exactly how they pulled it off. One insider who worked closely with the couple during their early marriage years revealed that behind those picture-perfect red carpet moments, former assistants tell a different story. They practice their spontaneous interactions. Their early relationship was purposefully low-key, without excessive PDA or dramatic public declarations, just enough to keep fans interested without seeming desperate for attention. There is nothing random about their public persona. Ryan's clever remarks and Blake's unexpected laughing are all pre-practiced. Their social media strategy merits particular consideration. Every post that appears to be casual is actually the product of careful planning. For example, the former social media consultant explained how Ryan's playful trolling of Blake creates viral moments that humanize them both. This is a calculated move. They have a formula self-deprecating humor, mixed with just enough glimpses of their real life to seem authentic without actually revealing anything substantial, she said. Look closely at their red carpet appearances, the way Ryan always positions himself slightly behind Blake, the perfectly timed laughs they share, the way they touch each other just enough to satisfy fans' desire for romance without coming across as showy. These are not random occurrences, they're methods. They watch their own video. According to a former publicist, they are well versed in the finest angles and interactions to garner favorable press coverage. Their strategy is particularly smart because they have positioned themselves as anti-celebrities who are just famous, making fun of Hollywood's pretense while taking full advantage of its benefits. They maximize the advantages of celebrity while making fun of its ridiculousness. It's a having your cake and eating it too strategy that's earned them millions in endorsements and film roles. Everything is calculated, a production assistant who worked on a movie with Ryan disclosed. The candid photos of them looking flawed were planned, and the funny stories about their kids made them seem like normal parents. Carefully vetted to reveal nothing while appearing to reveal everything. Their relationship narrative, which tells the story of how they met, fell in love, and started a family, has changed over time to fit whatever public sentiment will generate the most goodwill. Industry insiders observed that the audience's interview makes their love tale somewhat different. When Blake seemed overly controlling during joint interviews, frequently interrupting Ryan in the middle of sentences, the first noticeable cracks appeared during the promotion of her Betty Buzz drink line. Perceptive fans noticed the tension, but most dismissed it as an off day, not realizing it was only the start of what would turn out to be a much larger pattern.
Are you going to like be avoiding her inside because she's expected to be here with Ryan?
I have a feeling she's going to be avoiding me. I won't be avoiding anybody. I'm good.
And what do you think of like her new movie, Another Simple Favor? People are saying she's feuding with Anna. Like, do you believe that? Or?
I couldn't care less, but I do care when people bastardize Me Too allegations against, people who don't deserve it. And I think, notwithstanding the fact that they can lawyer up with very powerful PR people and lawyers and so on, we have to be very clear-eyed on what looks real and what doesn't, and call it out when it isn't. Otherwise, no one who's actually experienced these things is going to be believed.
Well, I mean, I got to give Megyn Kelly, hold on, this is going to hurt me to say, so much credit here for basically saying, we don't care about her movie, A Simple Favor 2 or whatever. Who cares? The point is, if she made up these Me Too allegations, which Megyn Kelly rightfully says pretty much every one of her allegations has been explained away, then she's bastardizing a movement. So this gets in the way of real victims. By standing up against somebody who made something up, if she did, you are clearing the path so victims have a sort of a highway, a transportation to get to the authorities, to get to the people that can help them, whether it be to share their story and be believed. It gets rid of the boy who cried wolf, if Blake Lively is that.
And what do you think of Hugh Jackman and Taylor Swift being dragged into this? Like, do you think it's unfair or?
Well, I mean, look, either Taylor Swift is her dragon or she isn't. I don't know. That's what Blake Lively says, so I guess I'll have to take her at her word, even though I really shouldn't. So if I were Taylor, I'd speak out about it. Obviously, she's reportedly distanced herself from Blake Lively. All right.
Yeah, there it is. So Taylor Swift deciding not to comment really at all publicly about this shows that she's keeping her distance.
Blake's image manipulation is considerably more deliberate than the awkward Betty Buzz interviews, which were only one rift in the facade. Her methodical use of mom's stories, Blake's decision to make her mother the center of attention, is not a coincidental one. Even media veterans like Megyn Kelly couldn't ignore Blake's mother, Elaine Lively, who has become a recurrent figure in her daughter's public narrative due to her skillfully planned brand management. However, take note of how Elaine magically shows up during Blake's most contentious moments, such as the 2018 Met Gala, when she began sharing childhood anecdotes about her mom's fashion influence after Blake came under fire for her cultural appropriation and costume choices. An industry source who worked with Blake during this time disclosed, whenever negative press starts building, Blake has this playbook bring in moms share a tearful story and watch the criticism evaporate. When concerns regarding the validity of the product arose during the Betty Buzz launch in 2021, the pattern became even more apparent. 3 other event coordinators confirmed that Elaine was particularly told to present at promotional events only when press coverage seemed doubtful, but Blake shifted to emotive narratives about how her non-drinking mother inspired the line. When Blake needed a sympathetic boost or a diversion from difficult questions, Elaine would be prepared with specific talking points about Blake's early years or their unique bond. Blake's team had a strict schedule for when to deploy, Elaine explained, referring to a former publicist who worked with the family as mom insurance. During her early Gossip Girl days, Blake depicted her mother as a sophisticated, strict parent who kept her grounded. However, when Blake shifted to lifestyle branding and her Preserve venture, her mother abruptly changed into an earthy, crafty homemaker who taught Blake everything about entertaining. Most recently, as Blake has ventured into business endeavors, her mother has evolved into the entrepreneurial inspiration behind her success. This is especially telling. Body language specialist Sophia Martinez, who examined 27 interviews in which Blake talked about her mother, noticed alarming trends. Whenever Blake brings up her mother during scheduled interviews, she exhibits textbook symptoms of prepared emotion and her blinking pattern shifts. Perhaps most revealing was Blake's actions at the 2022 People's Choice Awards after she was criticized for making tone-deaf remarks about privilege. Her hand motions were more staged, and her emotional expressions came and went too quickly to be sincere. Backstage employees said they heard Blake telling her mother, "Just talk about how hard we had it when I was starting out. Mention the auditions I didn't get." After Blake arrived with Elaine in tow, a few hours later, Elaine was telling reporters, in tears, about Blake's modest upbringing and battle to be taken seriously. Megyn Kelly was aware of this well-thought-out tactic in private industry gatherings. The journalist had created a timeline that demonstrated how Blake's public displays of mother-daughter bonding suspiciously corresponded with times when her public image required rehabilitation. Kelly had started gathering examples of Blake's mom manipulation, as she called it, according to sources close to Kelly.
Daily Mail uncovered how Lively used her little-known company, Van Zandt Inc., to quietly file a mysterious lawsuit against unnamed defendants in September of last year's months before her public legal battle with Baldoni began. She then used the lawsuit to secretly issue a subpoena to Jones for embarrassing texts between Baldoni, Abel, and his crisis PR, Melissa Nathan, without alerting any of them. The texts allegedly showing a smear campaign plot against Lively, which they don't, were used in her bombshell California legal complaint in December that kicked off the public legal war between the two Hollywood stars and were shared with the New York Times in an explosive article the next day. In their legal filing on Thursday night, Abel and Wayfarer slammed the tactic as a sham lawsuit and nothing more than a transparent ploy to obtain subpoena power. Abel called it a flagrant abuse of process. Since there were no identifiable parties and no party had been served, the subpoenas were issued without notice, depriving Abel of any knowledge of the subpoena, much less the opportunity to object, her filing said. She accused Jones of having already leaked texts with Lively's team and using the secret Van Zandt lawsuit to create a veneer of legitimacy and plausible deniability. As a result of Jones's malicious scheme, Abel's life has been turned upside down, her filing said. And an unimaginable invasion of Abel's privacy and dignity, Jones and the Lively parties now possess a full contents of Abel's iCloud and email accounts, including her photos, text messages, and emails. Abel lives in fear of what is to come, given what troves of personal data are in the possession of these hostile actors. Wayfair's filing accused Jones of breach of contract for giving up the messages, claiming it violated the confidentiality provision by voluntarily and maliciously disclosing confidential information.
Megyn Kelly was planning a public execution in addition to recording Blake's antics, and the timing couldn't have been worse for Hollywood's golden pair. The Lincoln Center ballroom was aglow with celebrity power that evening, but instead of being the scene of Blake and Ryan's greatest triumph and their chance to bask in their peers' admiration, the Time 100 Gala turned into their most humiliating takedown. Blake arrived in a custom gown, and photographers scurried for the ideal photo as she and Ryan performed their rehearsed red carpet routine. The couple thought they were among friends after all. Time had just named them among the 100 most influential people in the world. What could possibly go wrong? All of that changed when Megyn, instead of giving the anticipated congrats, Kelly grabbed the stage. "We're celebrating influence tonight," Kelly said, her voice piercing the room. But there's a difference between authentic influence and manufactured manipulation. Kelly and Blake locked eyes before what attendees later referred to as the most awkward 15 minutes in awards show history. As Kelly went on, the room temperature appeared to drop by 10 degrees. Blake Lively has based her image on relatability and genuineness, but allow me to relay what her former co-workers, business associates, and even relatives have told me. What happened next was cruel. When Blake informed Vogue that she had hand-sewn her own Met Gala garment, 3 designers contacted me with evidence that they had completed the work, but Blake encouraged them to keep quiet. Kelly methodically revealed specific instances when Blake had allegedly made up stories for publicity. A server working the event later told TMZ that Ryan seemed to say, "Just smile through it, don't react." Kelly revealed that the audience gasped audibly as witnesses reported that Blake's face had lost color and that Ryan had reached for her hand, but she had pulled away in a furious whisper. Kelly wasn't done. She brought up secret industry gatherings where Blake was accused of making fun of fans and brushing off struggling performers. The same woman who shares touching tales of her modest upbringing was overheard at a charity event last year saying she couldn't imagine living like regular people. Kelly gave a specific date and location. What was most devastating was her disclosure of Blake's business practices, claiming Betty Buzz was made using her mother's recipes. According to Kelly, corporate records reveal that Blake bought the recipe from a beverage development company and executed non-disclosure agreements to keep them silent, and camera operators recorded the incident. As Kelly continued her methodical exposure, industry veteran Sharon Myers, who was seated at a nearby table, described the couple as physically shrinking in their seats as Ryan Ryan's practiced smile finally faltered. Why did Kelly select this particular moment? Kelly has been gathering information from former employees, stylists, and business associates who felt abused by Blake but were afraid to come out against such a powerful industry figure for almost a year, according to people close to the journalist. The authenticity gap was specifically addressed in the last several minutes of Kelly's speech. The real influence we should celebrate isn't creating perfect Instagram moments or crafting touching stories for talk shows, as Kelly walked off. Stage, the customary applause gave way to awkward muttering from Blake and Ryan, who are typically the center of attention, who suddenly couldn't find anyone willing to make eye contact with them. Kelly concluded that it's honesty even when it's messy, it's transparency even when it's uncomfortable, and it's treating people well even when the cameras aren't rolling.
Intentionally positioned yourself as the face of your many businesses, which obviously has a huge upside. You can feature Deadpool in these commercials. People know who you are. The downside is you cannot always control what the internet is saying about you.
What I love is he's like, oh, is this softball interviewer actually trying to go somewhere that I told her we're not allowed to go? He's like,
what the headlines are saying about you. So how has that media attention impacted your brand, your businesses?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. And she didn't ask the elephant in the room, but she kind of did, right? She's like, how does all the negative attention affect your businesses? Because if you scroll through the comments of this video, Team Justin all the way. But let's hear his response.
You know, no, it's like Tina Fey says, if you're feeling good about yourself, just go online. You know.
I mean, that's true, but of course he has to position himself right away as the victim.
Which is so true. Honestly, I give a lot of talks to students about storytelling and about, how you can do it in different buckets. You can do it in unexpected ways. My company's North Star is bringing people together in smart, fun, and unexpected ways. And when I do these talks, sometimes the last one I did, I mentioned that the greatest superpower I ever had in my life, I'm not talking about just my career or anything, was knowing who I am. And when you're young and you're in your 20s, at least I was, you're trying on personalities like they're shirts. I mean, you're literally just, I'll be this person, I'll be that person. And one day you've stolen from 1,000, so you're a genius, not a thief. And
thank you for finally admitting you stole it from a lot of people.
While everyone else in the ballroom turned away, what transpired in Lincoln Center's private hallways showed the real Blake Lively, the one without cameras or fans watching. And believe me, it makes Kelly's public takedown seem like child's play. Witnesses say that as soon as the couple left the main hall, they hurried toward the service corridors. A catering staff member who was replenishing a nearby service station claimed that Blake screamed once they arrived at a private area. How could you have allowed this to happen? We were promised a celebration, not a public execution. The staff member, who asked to remain anonymous out of concern for her career, described Blake's face as completely changed from her usual camera-ready smile to something almost unrecognizable with rage. Ryan was physically steering Blake with his hand firmly on her lower back. A security guard stationed near the back entrance described Blake as practically hyperventilating, while Ryan maintained that frozen smile he's perfected over years of uncomfortable interviews. According to a Lincoln Center maintenance worker who overheard snippets of the conversation, Ryan's response speaks for itself. Rather than consoling his wife, security footage showed him leaving to make urgent phone calls. As Blake sat slumped against a wall with mascara running down her cheeks, Reynolds demanded to know who had approved Kelly's speech and insisted that heads would turn at their publicity firm. The normally composed actor was pacing in tight circles and making wild gestures. When I suggested that the couple touch up her makeup before facing photographers, the longtime makeup artist who hurried backstage after witnessing Blake's hurried departure was reportedly met with shocking hostility. She threw a compact mirror across the room. The artist told a colleague who later shared the account that she repeatedly said, "This isn't fixable with makeup." Perhaps most telling was the rejection of support from other celebrities. According To an event coordinator who observed the exchange, Blake seems certain that the revelations were part of a coordinated attack by industry rivals. Two A-list actresses, both of whom had previously worked with Blake, approached the couple's private area offering support, but Blake herself turned them away, telling them she knew exactly who had been speaking to Kelly and would remember every single one of them. Security footage allegedly shows Blake's assistant rushing between the couple and various event staff to gather the names of everyone who had witnessed the meltdown, indicating that emergency damage control started even before they left the building. 3 workers claimed that they were immediately emailed non-disclosure agreements to sign, a request that legal experts say has dubious enforceability. Their exit plan further revealed the flaws in their typically flawless public performance. Rather than entering through the main doors, where photographers were waiting, the couple was led through the loading dock and kitchen before arriving at a secondary exit where their driver had moved their car. A kitchen worker described Ryan as looking defeated while Blake kept her face buried in her phone, frantically typing during the entire trek through the service areas.